Let me tell you something real to that. Not everything or everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some people are lessons. Some people are blessings. And some are toxic. And if you don't learn how to deal with toxic people the smart way, they'll drain your energy, your peace, and your purpose before you even realize it. See, toxic people are like smoke. They don't always come in yelling or fighting. Sometimes they come disguised as friends, co-workers, even family. They gossip, they complain, they blame, and they always have drama following them around like a shadow. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to fight them. You just need to outgrow them. Growth is the smartest revenge you can ever have. When you level up your peace, you automatically silence the noise. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. And that's a truth that many people learn the hard way. Life will always bring people into your path for a reason, but not every reason is meant to last forever. Some people come to teach you something, some come to test your patience, and some come to show you what you no longer want or need. When you start realizing that not everyone deserves to be in your life permanently, you begin to protect your energy more carefully. You stop giving your time to people who don't respect it. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't listen. You stop fighting for people who would never fight for you. That's the moment when you start valuing yourself differently. Because when you truly love and respect yourself, you stop entertaining relationships that drain you instead of helping you grow. There are people who come into your life pretending to be your supporters, but deep down, they're envious of your progress. They smile in your face, but they secretly hope you fail. Those are the kind of people you must recognize quickly. Their energy doesn't match their words. You can feel it in the way they react to your success. They go quiet when you win. They question your ideas. They make you doubt yourself. That's toxic energy, and the longer you keep them close, the more they'll chip away at your confidence. You must learn to read people's energy, not just their words. Words can lie, but energy never does. When you sense that something feels off, don't ignore it. That's your intuition protecting you. Not everyone is meant to walk with you on your journey. Some people can't handle your light because it exposes their darkness. They can't celebrate you because they're stuck comparing themselves to you. They can't encourage you because they're too focused on their own insecurities. And if you keep trying to pull those people with you, they'll only hold you back. You have to be brave enough to let go, even when it hurts. Because letting go isn't losing something. It's making space for something better. When you remove the wrong people, the right ones finally have room to come in. You can't climb to higher levels holding on to people who want to stay on the ground. Sometimes toxic people aren't loud or obvious. They're subtle. They make small jokes that cut deep. They act like victims when confronted. They manipulate your kindness. And they twist your words to make you doubt yourself. And because you care, you make excuses for them. Maybe they didn't mean it, or they're just going through something. But the truth is, people show you who they are in their patterns, not their excuses. When someone constantly drains your spirit, it's not an accident. It's a choice they keep making. And your mistake is allowing it to continue. You can't change a toxic person by loving them harder. The only thing you can change is your response. The smartest thing you can ever do is protect your energy from people who don't value it. You don't need to hate them. You just need to understand that their chapter in your story is over. You can love people from a distance and still wish them well. You can walk away without anger and still have peace in your heart. You owe it to yourself to be surrounded by people who pour into you, not people who constantly take from you. When you accept that not everyone is meant to stay, you stop chasing closure from those who were never capable of giving it. You stop begging people to understand your worth. You stop shrinking yourself just to make others comfortable. That's when your life changes. Not because the world gets easier, but because you finally get wiser about who you allow into it. Protect your peace like it's your greatest treasure, because once your peace is gone, everything else in life starts to fall apart. Peace is not just silence or calm. It's that deep inner balance where you know who you are, what you stand for, and what you will no longer tolerate. When you allow toxic people or chaotic situations to disturb that peace, you start losing control over your emotions, your focus, and your happiness. The truth is, peace is power. When you have peace of mind, you make better decisions. You think clearer, you respond instead of reacting, and you stop letting temporary emotions cause permanent damage. That's why protecting your peace must become a priority, not an option. People often mistake kindness for weakness, but setting boundaries is not being rude, it's an act of self-respect. When you protect your peace, you learn to say no without guilt. You walk away from conversations that go nowhere, and you stop letting every small thing get to you. Not everyone deserves access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. Some people bring nothing but noise, and if you're not careful, their chaos will become your lifestyle. You have to decide that peace matters more than proving a point. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to respond to every insult. Sometimes silence is the most powerful answer you can give. Because peace isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself in the middle of their chaos. Life becomes lighter when you stop carrying other people's drama. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to fix everyone's problems. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. Protecting your peace means choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It means learning that not everything needs a reaction. Sometimes walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to know what's worth your time. The older and wiser you get, the more you realize that peace is more valuable than attention, more powerful than revenge, and more rewarding than validation. Peace is something you have to create intentionally. It doesn't come from a perfect life. It comes from a disciplined mind. Every day you have to protect your peace by being careful about what you allow in, what you listen to, what you watch, what conversations you engage in, and who you spend your time with. If your circle drains you more than it inspires you, it's not a circle. It's a cage. You can't grow in chaos. You can't heal in noise. You need space to think, breathe, and reconnect with your purpose. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's survival. Sometimes protecting your peace means making hard decisions, letting go of relationships that no longer serve you, stepping away from environments that feed negativity, or choosing solitude over company that keeps you stuck. It's not easy, but it's necessary, because peace isn't found in a crowd. It's found in your ability to be okay even when you're alone. The more you value your peace, the more you realize you don't need to chase anyone or prove anything. You start seeing that not every fight is worth fighting. Not every opinion deserves a response, and not every person deserves a seat at your table. So protect your peace fiercely, guard it the way you will guard something priceless, because once you lose your peace, it's hard to get it back. Every time you choose calm over conflict, understanding over reaction, and distance over drama, you become stronger, you become freer, you become unshakable. And that right there is the real power. Being at peace in a world that constantly tries to pull you out of it. Silence and distance are the strongest responses to negativity. And that's something many people fail to understand. When someone disrespects you, talks behind your back, or tries to pull you down, your first instinct might be to react, to defend yourself, to show them they can't play with your name. But here's the truth. Reacting gives them power. It gives them attention. And that's exactly what they want. Toxic people thrive on drama. They want to see you lose your calm. They want to see you break your peace. They want to see you lower yourself to their level. But when you respond with silence and distance, you take back that power. You show them that you're not easily moved, that your peace matters more than their opinions. You show them that you've matured beyond the need to prove yourself. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means control. It's knowing that not every battle deserves your voice. Not every insult deserves your time, and not every person deserves an explanation. Some people feed on arguments. They twist your words, manipulate your emotions, and drain your energy. The smartest thing you can do is refuse to play their game. Because when you stay silent, they lose control. They start questioning themselves. They can't argue with someone who refuses to respond. Silence becomes your shield, and distance becomes your sword. Together, they protect your peace and preserve your dignity. When you distance yourself from negativity, you give yourself the room to breathe and think clearly. Sometimes it's not about proving who's right or wrong. It's about walking away from what disrupts your spirit. You have to understand that not everyone is worth your closeness. Some people don't deserve front row seats to your life. When you create distance, you protect your energy from being contaminated. Distance isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's realizing that you don't need to explain your worth to anyone who refuses to see it. You don't need to convince someone to respect you. Respect is earned by how you carry yourself, not by how loud you can argue. There will be moments when silence feels unfair, when you want to speak your truth and defend your name. But remember this, time always reveals truth better than arguments ever will. People eventually see who was real and who was fake, who was peaceful and who was toxic. You don't have to rush that process. Just keep your integrity intact and let your actions speak louder than your anger. Silence is temporary protection. It keeps you from saying something you'll regret and gives you the patience to let karma do its work. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is simply walking away with grace. Distance also helps you heal. When you step back, you start seeing situations more clearly. You understand who genuinely cared and who just wanted to use you. You recognize patterns of manipulation and you stop blaming yourself for things that were never your fault. Distance brings perspective. It teaches you that you don't need closure from toxic people. The moment you decide to walk away was the closure you needed. When you stop chasing explanations and start choosing peace, you reclaim your life. So when people talk about you, misunderstand you, or try to bring you down, don't respond with noise. Respond with silence. When they expect you to argue, disappoint them with calm. When they wait for your reaction, give them your absence. The person who stays calm when others expect chaos is the one who holds true power. Silence and distance aren't about ignoring the problem. They're about rising above it. They're about proving that your peace is worth more than your pride. And when you master that, no one can shake your spirit because you've learned that real strength doesn't roar. It remains still. Growth and success are the best ways to outshine toxicity because nothing silences negativity louder than your progress. When people doubt you, criticize you, or try to hold you back, the smartest thing you can do is keep moving forward. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to prove anything. Just grow. Every step you take toward becoming a better version of yourself weakens the power of their words. Toxic people want you stuck in the same place, fighting battles that don't matter. They want you distracted, emotional, and reactive. But when you shift your focus from their noise to your growth, you take away the only thing they ever had your attention. Growth turns pain into purpose, and success turns silence into a statement. You see, people who try to bring you down are usually threatened by your potential. They see something in you that reminds them of what they lack. They'll call you arrogant when you start believing in yourself. They'll call you selfish when you start setting boundaries. And they'll call you changed when you stop tolerating disrespect. But that's fine. Let them talk. Growth often looks like distance to those who refuse to evolve. You can't stay in the same circle expecting to rise higher. When you start focusing on improving yourself, your mindset, your habits, your surroundings, you naturally drift away from people who want to stay comfortable in chaos. Growth demands separation, and success requires silence. The beautiful thing about growth is that it doesn't need approval. You don't have to explain your journey to anyone. You don't owe anyone an apology for changing. You don't have to justify your peace or your progress. Real growth is quiet. It happens when no one's watching. In your late nights, in your struggles, in your decisions to keep going even when it's hard. When you keep working on yourself despite criticism or doubt, life eventually speaks for you. Your results become your voice. Your transformation becomes your answer. You don't have to tell anyone you've changed. They'll see it in your peace, your confidence, and your glow. Toxic people often expect you to stay at the same level because it makes them feel better about their own choices. When you rise, it forces them to face what they've avoided, their own lack of growth. That's why some people would never clap for you no matter what you achieve. But you can't let that stop you. You can't let someone's insecurity make you shrink. You owe it to yourself to keep evolving, to keep learning, and to keep proving to yourself that you can do better. Your growth isn't a competition with anyone. It's a commitment to the person you were yesterday. Every day that you choose peace over pettiness, discipline over distraction, and effort over excuses, you're already winning. Success doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be consistent. When you focus on your goals, your work, and your purpose, you stop wasting time explaining yourself to people who were never listening. You stop engaging with negativity because you're too busy building something meaningful. You realize that the best response to jealousy, gossip, and hate is success. Not revenge, not anger, just success. The kind of success that speaks so loudly it silences every rumor, every insult, and every doubt. The kind that makes people rethink how they treated you. So keep growing even when no one acknowledges it. Keep pushing even when it feels like no one sees your effort. One day, the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to watch your rise. You don't need to fight for recognition. Just stay focused, stay patient, and stay consistent. Growth takes time, but once it starts showing, it's unstoppable. And when your success finally speaks for itself, you'll realize you never needed to argue with anyone. Your progress already said it all. Surround yourself with people who lift you higher because the company you keep shapes the person you become. You can't soar like an eagle if you spend all your time walking with chickens. The people you allow into your circle can either drain you or drive you. If you spend your days surrounded by negativity, gossip, jealousy, or laziness, it slowly becomes part of who you are. But when you're around people who inspire you, encourage you, and push you to become better, you grow in ways you never imagined. Energy is contagious, and when you surround yourself with the right people, you start to believe in possibilities you once doubted. That's why you have to be careful about who you let influence your mind, your emotions, and your direction. The truth is, not everyone wants to see you win. Some people only want to see you doing well, just not better than them. They'll smile to your face, but secretly hope for your downfall. That's why you need to pay attention to the energy people bring into your life. The ones who cheer for you when no one's watching, those who speak your name with pride even when you're not in the room. Those are the people who deserve your loyalty. You don't need a crowd. You just need a few genuine souls who see your potential even when you can't. The right people will challenge you with honesty, encourage you with love, and support you without conditions. They'll tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable because they want to see you win for real. When you start surrounding yourself with uplifting people, you'll notice your standards change. You'll stop settling for conversations that go nowhere. You'll stop tolerating relationships that drain your spirit. You'll start craving growth, ambition, and positivity. The people around you should inspire you to become better, not comfortable staying the same. If you look around and realize you're the most motivated or driven person in your circle, it's time to find a new one. You can't keep growing if you're surrounded by people who don't believe in progress. Growth requires exposure to new ideas, new mindsets, and new levels of discipline. You can't rise higher if your environment keeps pulling you down. Sometimes the hardest part of success is outgrowing people you once cared about. But you have to understand that not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some people are comfortable living in drama and negativity, and no matter how much you try to help them, they'll resist change. You can love them, but you can't let them limit you. It's not your job to fix people who don't want to grow. It's your job to protect your purpose. When you start walking toward peace, you will lose people who thrive in chaos. When you start focusing on your goals, you'll lose people who are comfortable being stuck. But don't feel guilty for choosing yourself. You can't build your future if you keep holding hands with your past. Surrounding yourself with positive people doesn't mean everyone has to be perfect. It means finding people who match your energy, who respect your boundaries, and who bring out the best in you. It's about creating an environment where growth feels natural, not forced. The right people will remind you of your worth when you forget it. They'll celebrate your wins like they're their own, and they'll help you stand tall when life gets hard. That's what real support looks like. Life's too short to spend it around people who make you doubt yourself. So choose wisely. Choose people who talk about ideas, not people. Choose those who motivate you to dream bigger, not those who make you feel small. Because when you surround yourself with people who lift you higher, you start to rise without even realizing it. Their energy becomes your strength, and together you build a life filled with purpose, peace, and endless possibility. Walking away isn't weakness. It's emotional strength and self-respect. It's time in life when you must stop trying to explain yourself, stop trying to fix what's broken, and stop begging for peace in places that only bring pain. Walking away doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've grown up. It means you've realized that your peace, your happiness, and your sanity are worth more than trying to please people who don't value you. The strongest people are not the ones who fight every battle. They're the ones who know which battles aren't worth fighting at all. It takes real strength to say, I'm done. Not because you're angry, but because you finally understand your worth. When you walk away, you're not running from the problem. You're rising above it. You've decided that arguing, explaining, or trying to change someone who refuses to change is no longer part of your purpose. Toxic people will always find ways to twist your words, question your intentions, and drain your energy. They'll make you feel guilty for setting boundaries and call you selfish for protecting your peace. But that's only because they can no longer control you. The moment you walk away from manipulation and emotional games, you take back your power. You start realizing that peace doesn't come from convincing others to treat you right. It comes from choosing yourself, even when no one else does. Walking away also teaches you the power of silence. You don't owe anyone a dramatic exit or a long explanation. You don't need to make a scene or prove your point. Real maturity is walking away quietly with your head held high and letting your actions speak for themselves. People will notice your absence. They'll notice that your energy no longer feeds their chaos. And over time, they'll understand what they lost. But by then, you'll be too focused on your healing to care. Because walking away isn't about them. It's about reclaiming your peace and realigning with your purpose. It's a declaration that says, I deserve better. And that declaration alone changes everything. There's courage in letting go of what no longer serves you. It's not easy to walk away from people you care about, even when you know they're toxic. Your heart wants to stay, but your soul knows it's time to go. And that's where strength comes in. Doing what's right for your spirit, even when it hurts. You can love people deeply and still walk away from them. You can forgive them and still choose not to let them back in. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Sometimes it means release. When you finally walk away, you give yourself permission to heal, to grow, and to rediscover who you are without their negativity weighing you down. Walking away also opens new doors. It clears space for better people, healthier connections, and peaceful opportunities. When you hold on to pain, you block blessings. But when you let go, you make room for something greater. You start attracting people who value you, appreciate you, and bring out the best in you. And you realize that the peace you were searching for was waiting on the other side of letting go. The freedom that comes from walking away isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. It's that quiet confidence that says, I may have lost something, but I didn't lose myself. So don't let anyone convince you that walking away is weak. Weakness is staying in places that break you. Strength is knowing when to stop giving your energy to what no longer grows you. Life gets lighter when you stop carrying unnecessary weight. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is step back, close the door, and move forward without looking back. Because once you learn to walk away from the wrong things, the right things finally start finding their way to you.